If you have a spouse who's struggling with emetophobia, I want you to know it feels like you have many thoughts a day in your head that aren't yours. In fact, they have over 40,000 thoughts a day, research shows, of plaguing, terrifying, limiting thoughts. It sounds like somebody else is inside of your head speaking very unkindly to you. And it's not just about, what if I get sick? It often sounds like you could never do that. Well, yeah, but you did this, but you can't do that. You could never accomplish that. You're just too weak. There's social anxiety, worrying about what other people think of you, wanting to people please, putting yourself down. They already have a voice inside of their head that's very critical. Even if they don't express it or talk about it, if they have emetophobia, that's what's going on. So it sounds like you're a terrible mom. You'll never be able to overcome this. You're not good enough. Imagine if every single day you woke up and we're just trying to mitigate and survive throughout your life. You can't even be present. You can't really enjoy things. You're just worried about thousands of what ifs every day. What if I go to the grocery store and I get sick and everybody laughs at me and I can't get home? What if I feel trapped? What if I can't escape? What if the kids get sick when we're on vacation or holiday? Could I handle it? Could I cope with it? What would we do? It feels like they're playing Russian roulette with their lives every single day. It's terrifying. When you think of emetophobia, I want you to think about it all the way at the top of a ladder. Going down, we have eating disorders, OCD, depression, anxiety, social anxiety, perfectionism. In order to create emetophobia, you have to have all those other things in your thinking. So they're actually very brave, courageous people. They're suffering with all of those things all at the same time. It's just manifesting as a fear of being sick. So I want you to be very kind and patient with them. You don't have to validate the belief and this idea that being sick is the worst thing in the world. So it's important to be very kind to them. We don't want to validate by colluding. So I'll give you an example. Before I went through my program, I was afraid whenever my stepson would come over after he had just been sick. And my mom would say, just come stay with me for a couple of weeks. And I would drive 1,800 miles. So that's colluding because it's emphasizing the fact and reinforcing the belief that being sick is something that I couldn't handle. Now, it depends on where they're at in their recovery. If they've taken responsibility and they are working on their Thrive program, I want you to celebrate every tiny baby step and win that they have with them. It's not about what they haven't achieved or what they lack or where they're at in terms of have they overcome this already 100%. That's exactly not what we want to focus on. We want to focus on any step in the right direction. Even if it's 1% different than they did last time, that's a win. They're already working on cultivating a kind, helpful, calm, nurturing inner voice. So they need your support. I allow my clients for several weeks while they are working on building their coping skills and self-esteem to maintain their safety-seeking and avoidance behaviors. It is up to them, not you nor I, to tell them which things they need to work on and when. It's going to be a decision they need to make because they feel ready. Do we want to gently encourage and push them and remind them of helpful things? Absolutely. But forcing them to go into a car or onto a cruise before they are ready is not helpful. If they've been exposed early on in their program, it's okay for them to still respond the way they were before. The first couple weeks we're working together, they're actually working on understanding the intellectual aspects of their psychological foundation. Somewhere around week 4 or 5, they're going to start putting a lot of effort into challenging themselves and to processing those wins. They already have a voice inside of their head that's worried about failing, that's worried about not doing this well, that's worried if they're the one person that's not going to be able to figure this out, if they're smart enough, if they're putting enough into their program, or are they going to mess it all up? That's what they're thinking. They have very black and white, very perfectionist thinking. So it doesn't help to proliferate that behind the scenes. You want to be kind and loving and nurturing and supportive. I know you don't get it. I know you might not understand, but to them, they've built these beliefs for decades, most likely. And that's just what they believe. So we're going to slowly break that down together. They need time, they need grace, they need space to do this. They will do it. You can be a great support system to them by understanding right now that you don't understand, but that they're in the right place if they're working with me. So once again, encourage grace and time and space and realistic expectations. This is a complex, debilitating phobia. It does take time. It does take effort. It will never be overcome in one giant leap. That's not possible. It's all the small little changes that they are making that will eventually add up to recovery. So thank you for being supportive to them. Thank you for being part of their journey. If there's anything I can do to further support you as a couple or a team, just let me know.